Alright, so welcome back to the Leo Djax channel. We have some news today. Of course, it's Dragon Quest related. And all of this stuff is, kind of old. I'm a little bit behind, but I still wanted to talk about it because obviously I talk about Dragon Quest here on the channel, and I wanted to kind of give my 2 cents on all this, information we have in regards to the franchise. So the first thing we're going to talk about is, of course, Dragon Quest Dai Infinity Strash, because the game comes out in like 2 days. I'm very excited for it. It's my most anticipated Dragon Quest game. So we'll just go ahead and run through that Gamatsu article. And it's it's very, very interesting. If you've been following this game, you will be very excited as well. Everyone in my Discord server was like going kind of crazy too. So let's go ahead and read through this. Of course, there will sometimes be gameplay on the screen, so, looking at my OBS screen capture isn't too boring. But I think for now, I might just leave it on this screen so you can kind of see some of the pictures. So Infinity Strash, Dragon Quest The Adventure of Dai, adds Dark King Vern. Whoa, cannot speak there. Adds Dark King Vern boss battle. And also, Frizzcracker is to appear as a spell. Frizzcracker is, of course, also just Madroa. That's just like kind of the English name for it. And this is a big deal. Why is this a big deal? Because who you're looking at right now, Vern, is the final villain of Dragon Quest Dai. This is, of course, his old man form. Old man form. Cannot speak. But yeah, it's very cool that we'll see him. And let me just keep on reading because it'll kind of speak for itself. Vern the Dark King will appear as a boss in the deepest part of the Temple of Recollection in Infinity Strash Dragon Quest The Adventure of Dai. Publisher Square Enix and developers Game Studio and Kai Graphics announced during the game's Tokyo Game Show 2023 stage event. This is very interesting, and I have a few things to say on this. So obviously, this is what I had talked about on the channel before, right? Because whenever I've been asked, when I appear on other people's channels like Dookie, and I'll appear on Dragon Quest Poppy's channel, which I'll show his channel at the end of this video, because if you guys don't know about him, which you should. But whenever I've been asked this question, Leo, do you think there will be DLC? And I was always like, maybe, because we had seen stuff like the Madroa, when the trailers for this game were first released. But obviously we know that the main story for this game will cut off after episode 41, 42, right? But this is where that Madroa, that, post episode 42 content is from. It's from the Temple of Recollection with this Dark King Vern boss fight. So I think something that they could do, if we don't actually get like story DLC, maybe we can get bosses that appear from the final parts of the anime in the Temple of Recollection. For example, this right here is Old Man Vern, right? But we could see the young form, young Vern, which I don't have like a picture on hand, but like essentially like this picture right here. If you see under the this Dragon Quest ability is unfair video, that's kind of what young Vern looks like. He just doesn't, have wrinkles on his face. But obviously, young Vern is so much stronger than old Vern, so for him to appear as maybe a boss fight in the Temple of Recollection as DLC would be nice, if they're not going to give us, an actual story expansion covering, his fight, his arc. But I think that's all I wanted to say on that. This is very, very intriguing. And I guess it's cool that we're getting things that are past episode 42, even if it is in like the randomly procedurally generated dungeon that is the Temple of Recollection. So I'm very excited. Before I talk about some of the other Dragon Quest news, I just want to say, obviously Dragon Quest Dai Infinity Strash launches in 2 days. So let me just quickly shout out two videos, right? Let me go to YouTube real fast. So first video I really want to shout out is the collab I did with Dookie. If I could actually type correctly. Okay. So okay, I actually gotta let me make sure I type this in correctly. Give me a second here. It's a little bit of a struggle. There it is. So there goes his channel. Dookie, such a cool dude. Like, actually such a cool dude. And of course, I did a video with him, if you guys did not know, which was actually my first collab, which is this video on the top right. Why should you get Dragon Quest Dai Infinity Strash featuring Leo Djax? Oh, that video actually did pretty well. I didn't check the views on it, but like, y'all should really watch that video. And then there is a video I did with Dragon Quest Poppy, which I'll just go to his channel so you guys can kind of see it as well. Dragon Quest Poppy. And okay, there he is. This guy, also such a nice dude. We talked about Dragon Quest Dai, not about Infinity Strash specifically, but about, of course, the anime it's based off of, anime/manga series, Dragon Quest Dai, and we talked about our favorite arcs. And that video will come out sometime around the release of Infinity Strash, so I highly recommend that you just go ahead and subscribe to his channel and watch some of his content, and of course watch that video that I will appear in. So just wanted to shout them two out because they're both really nice people, and of course we're in an Infinity Strash hype season. So and what else did I want to talk about in regards to Infinity Strash besides the before we get into the other Dragon Quest news? So yeah. So my plans with Infinity Strash on the channel, right? We'll just go to the Steam page. So game comes out in 2 days. I have a physical copy coming from Play Asia. Now, I bought that because I wanted a physical copy of Infinity Strash because, you know, I'm a big Dragon Quest Dai fan and I love to own things for Dai physically. But obviously, it's kind of harder to stream the game, record the game, etc. From Switch, at least for me. So I'll probably be buying, a Steam copy of the game as well, just so that I can make videos on this game. Because while I will definitely be making a review on Infinity Strash, I also just want to record and upload some of my funny moments, some of my struggles against the boss fights, and things like that to the channel, because I want to promote this game because it is the Dragon Quest game that I am most excited for. And looking at this preview on Steam, I cannot wait. The 28th cannot come fast enough. So yeah, pretty much that's what I'm gonna do. So definitely expect some content on Infinity Strash. And I think that's pretty much it in terms of my plans for Infinity Strash. So getting into some other Dragon Quest news. We have quite a few stuff here. Some of these articles I won't read, but there's been a lot of stuff from Gamatsu. So, Dragon Quest Monsters: The Dark Prince is a demo. I haven't talked about this formally on the channel. I think I did make a community post about it. But, I really don't have much else to say. I have not played the demo, and that's simply because I've been playing Trails into Riverray, which I finally beat, I think it was yesterday. And I've also been playing Starfield, so between those two things, I haven't really had the time to play the demo. And also, I'm my priority, my focus right now in terms of Dragon Quest has been just the hype for Infinity Strash. So, honestly, I might not make a video on the demo, which I feel kind of guilty about. But, I feel like I just want to put everything into Infinity Strash because the game is out. Dragon Quest Monsters, right now, all we have is a demo, which is great, but it's a demo, and the game is coming out later this year anyways. So that's kind of my take on the demo. I'm sure it's very good. I'm sure it's wonderful, and I'm sure, I might get around to playing it before the actual game comes out. But of course, I already have, The Dark Prince pre-ordered. I'm pretty much chilling, waiting for the game to release. So, the other thing I wanted to talk about in regards to Dragon Quest is this article, because I have not talked about, Dragon Quest 3 and Dragon Quest 12 in a while. So, this was, this came out like a week ago, and I think it's funny how the Gamatsu article literally says no updates on Dragon Quest 12 The Flames of Fate, because that's really just been how it's, that's just how it's been, you know what I'm saying? We don't really have any updates. So let me just read this. Okay. Development on the May 2021 announced Dragon Quest III in HD 2D, titled Temporary, is progressing quite steadily, Yuji Horii told Famitsu during an interview at the World Cosplay Summit 2023 in Nagoya in early August. And then, of course, this is just Yuji Horii basically saying there's still not much I can say. It's kind of tough that we still don't know anything about Dragon Quest 12 because before I read the rest of this article, let me just splurge a little bit. For me, Dragon Quest 12 is, and I think that it's probably going to be that way for like everyone, but like it's going to be a very pivotal game for Dragon Quest, depending on what they do. And I think that is kind of the same reason why, I'm excited for Infinity Strash and I know a lot of Dragon Quest fans like probably won't have the same viewpoint, but for me, Infinity Strash is like so pivotal, so important, so meaningful, because it's the first Dragon Quest game that is like an actual action RPG. It actually has action mechanics and it has guarding, blocking, and it just seems like the ARPG aspect is what they're really focusing on, as opposed to, previous Dragon Quest spin-offs that have action, gimmicks, but it's not really the main purpose of the game. This is just straight up an action RPG. And that's why I think it's very pivotal for Dragon Quest to get more people into it, because not everyone's a fan of turn-based RPGs. So on and so forth, etc. And besides that, right, Dragon Quest 12, while I'm not saying they need to go into an action combat mindset, I do think them making changes to the turn-based combat system, which is already confirmed, it's not going to be an action RPG. They're just making changes to the command system. I think depending on what they do with these changes, it's going to be very crucial for the current Dragon Quest fans and people who want to get into Dragon Quest. So that's why I think we really do need to see, some type of gameplay for this game. But I trust them, I trust the developers, and so we just have to wait. So let's keep on reading here. What's your involvement in the development of Dragon Quest Monsters The Dark Prince, Mr. Horii? Yuji Horii. I'm involved in playtesting, checking, and so on. However, I thoroughly supervised and made revisions early on. The start of development is crucial after all. Okay, pretty interesting. So it's nice to see that he's still actively, supervising these projects, especially in the beginning, because like he said, the beginning is pretty important, as he said. Is your involvement in Dragon Quest Monsters The Dark Prince similar to your involvement in the Dragon Quest III HD 2D and Dragon Quest XII The Flames of Fate? Horii, it's roughly the same. Well, when it comes to Dragon Quest III, I already created the game once before myself and know a lot about it, so I'll give advice along the lines of, if you want to change this, you should do it this way, okay? King Horii with the advice. And then, what is the development status of Dragon Quest III and HD 2D and Dragon Quest XII The Flames of Fate? Dragon Quest III HD 2D is progressing quite steadily, Yuji Horii said. As for Dragon Quest XII, there's still not much I can say. So he's just giving us a silent treatment, which we've had for so long on Dragon Quest XII. It sucks. It sucks. All 3 titles, including Dragon Quest Monsters, The Dark Prince, are quite heavily anticipated by fans of the series. Of course, he's talking about Dragon Quest Monsters, The Dark Prince, the DQ3 remake, and Dragon Quest XII. Hori, we're working on a variety of things, so I hope everyone can continue to look forward to them. And like, speaking on that last line, right? We're working on a variety of things. It's so true, right? And I really do feel like this is one of the it's kind of funny to say this, but I feel like it's one of the best times to be a Dragon Quest fan, you know? Even though we don't really have new information for 12 or 3 remake, we still know that those games are coming out, right? And I really do feel like at this point there is a Dragon Quest game, you know, either released or will release that is for everyone. You know, Dragon Quest Monsters is coming out. Monster Collector. If you like Pokemon, Monster Hunter Stories, you'll like that game. Dragon Quest Dai Infinity Strash comes out in 2 days, right? That's an action RPG. You like stuff like Final Fantasy VII Remake, you'll like that game, you know what I'm saying? And then we have, you know, Dragon Quest XII, which I don't know who that game will be for. You know, obviously, if you like turn-based RPGs, you'll probably like Dragon Quest XII, but who knows what changes they're making to the system, you know? We don't know if it'll be for everyone. And then, of course, you have Dragon Quest III HD 2D, which is for all the classic gamers out there that really loved the original Dragon Quest III and want to see it in a new, rebirthed light. So, good time to be a Dragon Quest fan. There's something coming out for everyone, and I'm very much looking forward to everything that is coming out. Of course, Infinity Strash the most. But that's been me rambling. I just wanted to get all this off my chest. Because when the 28th comes, I'm going to be hopping on Infinity Strash fast. But yeah, let me just go back to my channel here. You guys will use this as kind of like the end slate. Make sure to subscribe. We're almost to 1.1k. And yeah, I'll catch you guys in the next Dragon Quest video, or me just talking about Jrpgs like I did a few days ago on Trails Through Daybreak. It's such a good time to be a gamer. Anyways, love you guys. Bye.